you. How you doing? It's me, Candice, with Happy Catastrophe, Sister Minh Bao. I got a little guy that's been staring at me and wanting to make an appearance. If you guys have the Cricut cutting machine, if you get their mystery boxes they put out now and then, these little Cricut guys are in there. They are like collector's items and sell for like $80 a piece online. It's ridiculous. Mine's all, that's probably sacrilegious then, that mine is covered in acrylic paint and has been slightly chewed on by Jack. But fads, what can we say? So tonight's night in the cabin starts during the day. As you can tell, it's daylight. I don't even have my overhead light on. My air conditioner is going because it's hot. We got done with a heat wave and it actually rained for 2 days and it was wonderful. It was kind of like living in a sponge, but with the humidity, but the plants all loved it, the chickens loved it, it was great. But now the heat's back. So we are under a heat warning in my part of Oregon, that means like it might get 90 degrees. I know in some parts of the world that's like a nice cool day for you, and I'm talking Fahrenheit. I have no idea what that is Celsius. I'm sorry, I'm an American, I'm sorry. But today we're going to start during the daytime, and with my air conditioner being obnoxious, hopefully you'll spend the afternoon with me into evening and we'll get rid of that air conditioner after a while. And I have some things to show you and some fun things I'm in the middle of, so let's get started. All right. Hi, so it's daytime on my Sunday, which doesn't mean that it's actually everyone else's Sunday, but it's my Sunday and I'm barely gotten out of bed. It's a hot day, so I have the air conditioning on, and I just finished doing my second page in Fern Calloway's Fae Fantasy. I thought I'd show it to you. This is filmed. We did, for those of you that have watched it, this was our first page, right? And we had 3 choices. Fern just got out of bed and her Nana brought her some whiskey and milk for breakfast. And these are all her taxidermied animals. Interesting. And her Nana Mori gave her 3 choices. Gave her a choice, but she had 3 choices. She could eat her breakfast of whiskey and milk. She could ask where Mr. is, which we don't know who Mr. is yet. Or she could, Jack just jumped off the couch. Or she could just stay here and befriend her amazing taxidermied creatures. And I put it to vote for y'all on Instagram and on YouTube, and y'all voted. It was so close. Y'all voted to go visit the taxidermied creatures. So we went to page 4, and that's this one. And I just finished this one. So there's a video up for this, and it explains our choices. We have 2 choices this time. And so, yeah, watch that video and let me know what you think Fern should do next so that we know which page to go next time. So I just finished that. And I use a lot of acrylic in here, largely a lot of acrylic. That there's some paint back in here and stuff. It's in the video. But I do a lot of Language gel markers, and I use the Language acrylics, that old set I have that I don't really care for because I'm just trying to use them up. Jack, you have been sleeping. Okay, here's a picture of what Jack has been doing for the last couple hours. This is Jack in all his glory, where he likes to spend all of his time while I'm coloring. But then, the second I turn on the video and start recording, he gets up and makes sounds. Wanders around the house. Now he's going to chew on his bone. I don't know what it is. He just likes to be part of the video. All right, while we're here, I thought I'd show you a couple things I picked up. I picked up off of eBay. Everybody talks about the Faber-Castell Pitt pens, so I thought I'd try just 2 little sets. Yes, my Mondaloo are making an appearance here. I'm back. I've been playing with these, trying to see if I like them or not. I got these off Bakari. They're fun. They're fun. I like them. But let's look at the. Let's make it easier on you. These are some stickers I've been playing with, and let's look at these Pitt pens. A lot of you love these and use these, so I bought a couple sets, blues and light skin tones. These were sealed. So someone's selling their packs, and they were a pretty decent price. But I just got the two just to see if I like them. And I'm not sure. I'm going to insert a little clip here of me using them. Yeah. All right, so this is me using the Pitt pens for the first time out of my fantastic Beast book, which I will be doing a flip through of if I have not put that out already. And I have started on this Koblapas Beast here. He is a mythological beast who is first introduced to us in ancient Latin. A few different scholars and I guess explorers mentioned seeing this creature, but what historians kind of think they actually saw was a wildebeest. And they named him after the Greek word for head hanging down, because honestly this drawing isn't very accurate to the ancient drawings of what these folks saw. What they saw was more the size of a bull, and it had a big head with big horns that hung down low and they couldn't lift it up. So, kind of like a water buffalo or a wildebeest. However, it went from there. I mean, one explorer said that it breathed fire, and then it was ultimately decided upon that it ate poisonous vegetables and foliage, and so it would breathe and fart noxious fumes that were so deadly they could kill a human being. Yep, that's this creature. So I'm using the Pitt pens to color it to see how I like them. And do I like them? I'm on the fence. They didn't wow me like I thought they would. They're still water-based markers when it comes down to the end of the day, right? And water-based markers, no matter how good, still streak. Now, these are the best water-based markers I've ever tried. They are lightly pigmented. I was kind of thinking they'd be darker. I'm using the darkest one that I purchased right now, and it's still, pretty light. I think they're fantastic for an undercoat for basing. I wouldn't want to finish with them unless maybe I went in later with more layers and more shading with them. To me, that seems like a lot of work when I could do this faster with other mediums. But I'm going to finish this little guy, this little drawing, with the Pitt pens. So I will be working on this one. I do finish basing everything and let it dry, and then I'll film what it's like going in with a second layer of them. And I guess that's what you all do when you work only in Pitt pens, because I know there's a couple of you that like to do your entire page just in Pitt pens. So you must go in and do a second layer or something if you don't use pencil or anything on top, because they are kind of flat looking. I don't know that they're worth the price for me. I'm not a huge water-based marker user because of the streaking, because of, the flatness of it, and usually the not very brightness of it. There are some brighter ones. Super Tips are brighter. So I don't know. I don't know if I'll invest in any more. For as much as I use water-based markers, I think I'll just stick with the cheaper ones. If this were my main medium, yeah, of course I'd want to invest in the best. Just, wow, they are really expensive for what they are. That being said, these colors are pretty. They are. They're a little boring to me, but they're pretty. I will be jazzing this page up, you know it, with some gel markers and probably something sparkly. Um, who knows? But definitely it needs something. Um, Now, these are the what's called the light skin tone set, so of course they're not going to be very dark, but I did kind of expect them to be a little more pigmented, that's for sure. Especially the really light one. There's a light one that hardly has any color at all to it. And this one has very little, but there's a pinker one that I couldn't hardly tell was even going down on the page. So if you're a Pitt pen fan, let me know in the comments how you like to use them. Do you do 2 layers? I tried going over them twice right here or going over them thicker, but it just saturated the paper and then the paper started pilling, so I realized I couldn't do that. I needed to do just multiple light layers if I'm going to layer it all. So let me know what it is about the Pitt pens that y'all like so much. I didn't feel the magic. I wanted to feel magic. I didn't. They do have tiny, tiny little brush type nibs, so they can really get into small areas. It does make it a little difficult, though, to cover larger areas, which is already a problem for water-based markers because they streak so much. And then having this tiny, tiny little brush nib, I found it a little hard to manage the streaking. I did. So yeah, they're the best ones I've got. But I think they could be improved more to be worth what they cost. So I know, sacrilegious, not a popular opinion. Anyway, I'm going to leave you while I finish working on this, and I'll be back with something else. Okay, so I am now working in my Thomas Kincaid Color by Water book, and I've got this sped up a couple of notches, so that is not how fast I normally work in these. I work fairly slow because they take a lot of precision. And what I wanted to show you here is the color is in the lines. So when you add water to it, it releases the pigment. However, you have no way of knowing what color is in those lines. So you kind of have to be careful not to combine colors. I'm realizing as I'm adding water here that it started with yellow, and now these lines of the clouds down here are all red. I'm assuming as I move back up, it's going to go back up to sort of a yellow again, and it sure does. So I'm trying to not make everything orange. I'm trying to keep the pink and the yellow a little bit separate to give it some interest. It looks like these are actually pink and yellow. And so I'm adding water to the lines to bring the pigment out, and then I'm pulling the pigment into the area where I want it. I don't want the clouds to be pink. I want the sky to be pink. So I'm not painting inside the clouds. You see, as I brushed past those lower clouds, they seem to have gray or black in them. So I'm trying to stay off of them while I figure out what that is. And I'm bringing you in closer so you can see. Oh, so see, now I figured out it's kind of a purple. So I'm going to blend that up into the sky as well. Now I could wait for the others to dry. Didn't think about that. But I did kind of want it all to blend too. So I'm blending this purple in, trying not to put too much into the clouds because I really want the color in the sky, not in the clouds. You could do it the other way around and leave the sky white and the clouds colored. If you tried to do both, you might run out of pigment, but you could make the center of the clouds white. There isn't a lot of pigment in these lines, and so the color won't travel very far. but that allows you to get a nice little gradient as well. So I'm figuring that the trees are probably greens and browns, so I'm trying to stay off of them while I get the sky done. And now I'm going to work on the back part of this ocean. I'm guessing that it's going to be different colors. Oh, yep, there's a blue. So I'm trying not to combine those colors to make a muddy mess, but I'm dipping my brush in water and cleaning it in between on a towel so that I'm not making a muddy mess. So that's the trick to these paint with waters. And I can tell that there's intense blue paint in each one of those circles, and then so I'm deciding whether I want to keep those circles intense blue and not pull so much of the pigment out into the water, or do I want to pull it out into the water? I'm trying to leave variation. So I'm playing with different things here. But that's the beauty of this sort of a book, is the challenge isn't picking colors. They're all done for you. You don't even have to add color to the paper. It's all there. It's figuring out what you don't want to blend. And see, here I'm like, whoa, that's yellow. So I cleaned my brush so I didn't have any more blue on it. And that's blue. So I'm sort of like, oh, this is a reflection. So I'm blending some of it, and then others I'm trying to not blend. Out here, I'm going back to the blue. You can see that you can only go over a line a couple of times before the paint's all gone. There doesn't seem to be any paint in those two right there, those two wiggly ones, and I'm not sure why, so I just skipped over them. They're probably supposed to be white. Now we're getting more of a greenish blue, and I assume it's because it's shallower. I accidentally brushed a rock and saw that it was a dark gray, so I'm trying to stay off the rocks. That one does not have any pigment in it, so it must supposed to be white. Oops, accidentally brushed a rock and it's got gray in it. Here I'm going to start doing the rocks. Yes, they've got a little bit of gray in them. And if you're careful, it looks like it's two different shades of gray. Looks like there's a brown and a gray. You can make it mottled looking, and I'm cleaning off my brush a little bit in between to try to keep those colors a little bit separate. I really like the way they did the rocks. It's not just one color, it's several colors. That's kind of also the nice thing about the Thomas Kinkade Color by Waters, is he uses a lot of colors. It's not just a traditional pink, green, yellow. He has browns and grays in there, and it's really, really pretty. Okay, I let it dry for a bit, and now I'm going back in to these trees. And you can see I started with a couple of the bushes there, and I see that they are greens and browns. So I'm just testing them out as I go, testing each line, seeing that there's lighter greens at the top, darker greens as we move in towards the center of the tree, which makes sense, right? Makes sense. Sorry about my thumb there. I had a bite that got infected. And so here we are, just adding more water to this tree, and I'm really liking how they made it sort of ombre, so every frond is a slightly different color. So as long as the color stays the same, I keep my brush on it, but if I start to see the color change, I will go and wipe my brush. And I try not to add too much water. You don't need a lot of water. You do need some. A damp brush won't quite cut it. It does need water to move. And it is on really good paper, so you don't have to worry about the paper. It looks like the trunks of these coconut trees are a nice olive green. I'm really liking that a lot. So adding some, I decided they would probably be all close to the same color, so I do all of them. But turns out that one's a little greener. Thomas Kinkade likes lots of colors. Ooh, look at the bright green on this one. I would definitely recommend doing what I never do, and that's start on the far side of your dominant hand so you don't drag your hand through the wet paint. I'm right-handed, and I never start on the left like I'm supposed to, so I'm always smearing stuff. That's just how I roll. I forget. But look at the way those trees look. I do like how they look. Again, try hard not to just blend everything all together. You'll lose the subtlety of the different colors. It'll all just look kind of muddy. but I am liking the way that looks. And I love the way the background looks a lot. I was really curious about these bushes, if they would be the same greens, but they're not. They're a different green. There's lots of greens in here. Not all color by water books are the same. Some, like my Nightmare Before Christmas, are very simple. Every page has the same 3 or 4 colors on it, and every page kind of looks the same. But like this one and a lot of the Usborne ones I've seen have lots more colors and are much more interesting to do. Ooh, look at that olive green that popped up there. I thought that was pretty. And I wiped my brush because there were so many different greens happening here. There's even a slight little pink there. And I just think that looks really neat. I have no idea what this ground's going to be. If this is grass, if this is sand. It kind of looks like those are tufts of grass, but I'm not sure. So it's kind of a surprise. It's fun to paint these because you just don't know what the colors are going to be. But like I said, this one is really fun and really pretty. So I let that dry, and then I go back in and finish it away from the camera, and here it is. What do you think? Didn't that land turn out gorgeous? I just love the colors that they used. And it doesn't have that whole Technicolor feel that, you know, cheaper ones use, cheaper made ones of these types of books use. It's just really nice. It turns out to be something that you're really proud of. And this paper is fantastic. It does lie flat. I did do those flowers, but they were such a light pink, they hardly showed. And this is the final product. And I'm so glad I did this. I knew I wanted to do one for September, but I didn't know which until I flipped through it and I decided I needed a tropical day in my life at the beach. So this is the one I chose. Isn't that pretty? If you are interested in getting this, I'll close the cover here so that you can see. It's called Thomas Kincaid Studios Paint with Water Through the Seasons. And here is the ISBN so you can find it. It's easily found on Amazon. Super easy. Of course, Thunder Bay Books does the best paper and the most wonderful books. So, yeah, thanks for watching. I'm glad you enjoy that. Okay, it's another evening, much like the last evening. Crickets are chirping, doors are open, windows are open. It's turning into fall. We had a rainstorm. Very, very short rainstorms, but we had rainstorms. A couple of them over the last couple of days. And it's lovely. Oh, shoot, that reminds me. I was going to go. I have a small apple tree that's only about 4 years old, and it's producing a lot of apples. And I was going to go out and pick them today. I forgot. I'll have to try to take a flashlight out there or something after work, because this is my Sunday. So I go back to work tomorrow. And I wanted to show you a couple things I got and how I'm using them. So my friend Nessa, she sent me some paints that she created. Now, she makes these paints. And yes, the filling didn't go so well in a couple of these. These are just leftovers from the paint sets she creates when she has little bits left over. She wanted to send me some, so she had put them aside until she had a whole palette full of them, and she sent them to me, and they're so pretty. They're just, and they don't smell as much anymore. From being cooped up from the trip over, they smelled of clove oil. She uses clove oil to keep it from getting bacteria and spoiling, and it smells so lovely. It made my whole house smell good. But now the smell has dissipated some. Oh, it still smells really good, though. I want all my paints to smell like clove oil now. I did swatch them. Let me show you in my swatch book. Let's see. Nessa's Watercolors, page 49. Let's look at my swatch book. They're right here. Look at them. So she's got some shimmery ones. I tell you, that gold is stunning. And I asked her about it because it's so good. And she says it's made with Sennelier pigment, as is the red. And that's why they're so, I mean, that's an expensive pigment. So that gold is beautiful. And this color flashing color, which is brown, but color flashes green, I actually had an Urban Decay eyeshadow. In fact, I still have it. That's that color. And that is one of my favorites in the whole set. I've used it on a lot of things already. I've used this purple on some things I'm going to show you. I've used this one on some things. I've used the gold. I am currently doing another page where I'm using a lot of this. And I thought I would show you that. I'm really hoping to find a place for this red very, very soon. And look at these blues and purples. Wouldn't they make beautiful skies and clouds? Yeah, she makes beautiful watercolors. She mostly just makes them for herself and her local community. She doesn't sell online or anything, but so I guess you'll all just have to be jealous of me because these are amazing. Look at these. They're all slightly different and they're all shimmery. The only ones that are matte are these 5 and these 2. The rest all have shimmer to them and they're beautiful. Well, and the red too doesn't have. So there's only about 6, 7, 8 that are matte, and the rest are all shimmery. Stunning. Let me show you something I've been doing. So I'm working on a whip that was on a buddy color out of this, the Bestiary of Tolkien. I'm in a group that does the pages out of this now and then, and this is last month's page. I didn't finish. I do absolutely love this book. And it's this double page spread where I used some Kuretake Gansai Tambi granulating color for inside the dragon, and then various things outside, pencils and some Lango gel pens on the lines. But I'm using some of her watercolor on the wall. And it's slightly different than the colors I used here, the Kuretake, and I think that works. And then I'm going to go in with Distress ink and put some Distress ink in here to darken it up and make some shadows, and then do something dark for the bricks. And I think it's going to turn out okay. I think making it slightly off and slightly clashing, but once I put the dark ink on, it's going to look very different. I'll put some greens and some browns in there, but I think it's going to be really cool. And then that color flashing one is on his armor. Is that not cool? It just flashes really cool. I might put a second coat on there. Yeah, so this is coming along. It's getting there, my friends. It's getting there. And then another one of Tara's gifts was this amazing book, Secret Worlds, Magical Color and Search Journey by Stephanie Law. And I started this page for Space Timber. And I was doing the sky and the mountains in Albrecht Dürer, and then Nessa's paints arrived, so I switched to Nessa's paints. And so all of the sparkly stuff, there's a sparkly pen that's pink that's in here, but the rest of that sparkly stuff is her paints. There's that gold, the gold on the moon. And then the entire creature is done in her paint. Look at that. It's 2 coats of that sparkly dark blue. Let me show you which one it is. This dark blue is this last one. It's just beautiful. Here's the gold. This light blue is the matte blue, the light blue of the birds. And then the tree trunk, I absolutely love. So the matte is that matte red, the same red I did the brick wall in the Bestiary book. But the shiny one is that flashy brown that flashes green. Oh, it just works so well with this. I absolutely love it. Oh my gosh. And then I'm gonna make his spots the same gold as the moon, her gold. So he'll be blue and gold. And then I haven't quite decided how to do this halo around him, how sparkly I want to make it. But yeah, and then I'm just going to go back in on these 2 sides with the same Albrecht Dürer colors I did up there. But so this is about half Albrecht Dürer's and half Nessa's paints. Isn't that turning out neat? I had no idea what color to do him, and then I received those paints in the mail, this magical creature, and I was like, oh, that blue, I would have never thought of that, but I had done the back, the mountains bluish. I was keeping everything in a kind of a cool palette, purples and blues, and when I was swatching it out, I was looking at that shiny dark midnight blue, and I was like, oh, that might work for this magical creature. And then I'll make his spots gold. He's really going to be beautiful. I'm loving this book. It's a lot of fun. The paint, it's funny, the paper feels really awesome, but the paint, it doesn't handle paint very well, surprisingly. And if you get it wet at all, it will start disintegrating the paint on the back, the paper on the back side. So you have to be real careful. But I don't use a ton of water. You can't use it like actual watercolors on this paper. You have to just sort of get it wet and dab it on. But yeah. Oh, and I made the buildings in the back that same metallic blue paint with gold in the windows so they will reflect the colors of the creature. I just think her paints really made this page stand out, and I can't wait to finish it. My first page in this book, and usually my first pages are kind of disasters because I'm experimenting a lot. But I went in this with Albert Durst knowing that they would do just fine. And then Nessa, what a great gift. It's really making this page turn out. And then I used them again in this book. And this was another, you saw this present also. And when I say you saw, I have a video of, it's called A Big Beautiful Box, I think is what it's called. And then it's where Tara sent me a huge box of gifts. And it had a bunch of stuff, and then it had a bunch of amazing books, and then I blubbered and cried for a while. Many of you saw that. It just went out. I think it was the video even before this one. And so I had started on this page, and I was using one of the gifts from the box for the background is it's not this exact pen, but it's this brand, the acrylic paint markers from Langoureau. Here comes Jack, Langoureau. And she sent me the Colorful Black series, and this is one of the colors in it. Look at that. Now, one coat covered it, but it did have some streaks, which these do. Yeah, Jack jumped up on the couch behind me. He's gonna go to bed. But I put 2 coats, and look at that flat blue. Oh, I just love it, that blue-black sky. So then, on her satchel there where I started is that brown to green flashing paint of Nessa's. The trees down here is one of the other dark metallic ones, and it has a couple of different colors in it, and I just sort of got it barely wet and dabbed it on. It's this one. It looks more purpley. I haven't used that one yet. This is the midnight blue one. This is the purpley one I used for down here, and it's got like multiple pigments in it, and I love it. I think that looks great for the trees. And then, and I don't know what I'm going to do more for these trees. But then the axolotls. Now, I had used the body paint, the bodies, these colors. I think I'm going to I make these, I don't know if I'm going to make them all the same color. So I sort of did every other one because I might make the other ones more pinky, but I might make them all the same color. The body is Nessa's paint again, and it's this one, this lavender. And I'm not sure if these are 2 different colors or little bits of the same color. They're very similar, but basically these 2 here, I think they're the same paint. And so I did the axolotls. Oh, that paint went on so well, and it has a tiny bit of shimmer. Not much though, and it might just be bleed over from, might have been in my water. It might be contamination. And then what I did was she sent me these little tiny pencils, she being Nessa, and I asked her what they were, and she said they're Canadian extinct brand called L'Argentien, and when they get little tiny like this, she gives them to friends to try because you really can't get them. So I took this magenta, and I will show you. I have a video showing you, and I'll show you that right now, what I did to make the axolotls look kind of like they're glowing. Hey. So here I show you a close-up of a paint job that I did on that. Look at that beautiful pink. It's so pretty. It's like a lavender mauve-y pink. And that's the paint by Nessa. And then I took this teeny tiny L'Argentien extinct Canadian pencil. And it was perfect because it's just a darker purple of the paint. So it's similar to the paint, but it's darker. And so it works for shading. Now, I've got this at double speed again, so that's not how fast I color. But I just colored in, and I don't do this is a sloppy coloring job because the Languo gel pen that you see to my right there, that hot pink one, that's going to clean up the edges. So I'm just slapping color down on the fins and then pushing pretty hard to make it darker on the inside of the lines on the axolotls. And then I kind of just sort of sloppy color in the edges of the feet. And this goes, this is double speed, but it does go pretty fast. And you see, I just kind of do the feet there, and then I do all the insides of the lines. Around the gills, I sort of do the ends of the gills plus outside of the gills, because that makes it darker there, and it'll really make that neon gel pen pop. Okay, then I take the gel pen. There it is. That's the one I'm using. And yes, we put the cap on the end. The cap on the end means that blocks the airflow and gives us a stronger flow. And then we just sort of, you can't do long strokes with these gel pens. You do little short strokes pushing the ink as it comes out. So it's real gentle. I'm not even pressing down on the paper. The ink flows out and I push it around. So I'm covering every single line with this hot pink, and it does dry bright and matte. You can see where my left finger is. That's that ink that has dried on that axolotl. So it will dry bright and a matte hot pink color. And here I tilted the book. I put something underneath the book to tilt it to get rid of that glare. It made it a little harder for me to color. I had to get used to the tilt, but it made it easier for you to see. So I do eventually get used to the tilt and my coloring gets better. But see, I'm just going along. Now, this is a technique you want to use if you don't have a lot of details, because it will wipe out your details. And if you want to make the animal or whatever it is look like it's glowing, because the outline is lighter than the object. So that's a good technique to help it look like it's glowing. If you want to define it, you'd want to use a darker. If I wanted to hide the lines, I'd use the same color as the purple pencil. So that's one trick you can use. If you use a lighter color to outline it, it will look more like it's kind of lit up on the edges, plus you kind of lose all your details. So you'll see here, I was thinking about doing that, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Because it's okay if I lose some of the details. These are, axolotls are like flying blobbies. They don't really fly either. But they're like little swimming globs. They don't really have definition or a lot of things to them. They don't have a lot of parts. So the few parts they do have, I'm outlining in pink. Now, all of them, this is the only one with pupil, and I guess because it's actually the only one they're showing who's catching a star. These axolotls are out hunting the stars and eating them. So I decided to make the pupil pink. Now, all the rest of them, I'm just outlining the eye in pink and letting the eye be white. So it's kind of, they look like ghostly axolotls. And that's all I did. I'm really liking the look of that. So I hope you liked that. That's all I've got for you tonight. It's plenty for sure. Doing lots of coloring. And the next things I'm going to be coloring, I hope, I really do hope, are buddies, actual buddies. Like, I've been so distracted with the new gifts that I haven't done any. I took a break from my buddy colors. I did a few, but I need to get to this one, the Astro Cat. I've got several people who have joined me on this, so I'm taking this to work with me tomorrow. And then I have yet to start the Fright and Seek page, which is the Infinity and Beyond. Oof. I should start that tonight. I really should. In fact, I think I might work on that right now. And then the next one, so these are the three I'm probably going to start and work on, is this one. I'm going to take this one to work tomorrow too, because I think I'm going to use alcohol markers on it. I do like these with alcohol markers, and I do want to do a blend of the sky and with the clouds and stuff involved. I think alcohol markers might work best. I haven't decided yet, but this is just such a pretty page. And this is Nice Little Town 15. That's another buddy. So I have lots of buddies, and I have more and more. I still haven't even started. Pajama guy in here. This guy. I need to do pajama guy still. You know, he's alcohol markers too. Okay, I'll take a couple of alcohol marker jobbies with me tomorrow to work with my alcohol markers. I think I'll take the cat o' knot and pajama guy to work tomorrow. That'll work, because these aren't necessarily going to be alcohol markers. How I decide what I take to work is I choose something that I mostly can entertain me for all the downtime with one medium, because I just can't take lots of mediums. There's just not enough room, and I don't have the capacity. So I try to take a couple things that are just going to use like just Albrechters or just alcohol markers. Those are the two main mediums I can use. I can bring all together and then use there, because I have my alcohol markers, of which I just got another shipment of them. This is what I have, and I have them in a big, heavy case that came open one time in the parking lot, and I was very embarrassed because everybody jumped forward to help me pick up my pens. Ugh, I'm a nightmare walking, psychopath talking. What happened here was I needed some inks, and whenever I do a big order of inks, I do it from themaryartist.com. And whenever I do a big order of inks, I also treat myself to a few new pens to kind of round it up to the amount I need to get free shipping. And so I did pick up some more blues and some more greens and a couple of reds. Yep. The next time I order pens, I'm going to go for violets and purples, because I'm really short on purples. This is the only semi-purple I have. I did get that aubergine color. Look, there's that eggplant color I was telling you about. I really like it. So I don't know if I've shown you this before since I filled it out, but yeah, I did get some new colors. So I'll take that entire thing plus this and those two books to work tomorrow. And then this evening, I'll think about starting one of these two here before I go to bed. All right. Thank you. And you have a wonderful evening of coloring. Thank you for spending some time with me in my cabin. It really means a lot to me. And I enjoy it so much. Jack and I and Jett, all three of us enjoy it. In fact, I started filming this, and Jett woke up and jumped off his perch and started stumbling around. So I had to stop, put him to bed, tuck him in, and then come back out and restart the video. So everyone here in the cabin is involved in making these videos. All right. I love you, and you have a great evening. Bye-bye.